I was born in the mid-90s, 2 years after my brother. All our childhood memories are preserved on VHS tapes. Tapes we haven't watched in nearly 2 decades, because who else owns a VHS player? My brother Luke is turning 30 soon, and I thought it would be a nice gift to digitize all our old videos. My mom kept them in a box in our basement, labeled 1999. I had no idea what the A stood for until I found the other boxes. Our old basement was filled with all kinds of junk and memorabilia from years gone by. Dusty basketballs with no air, our old inflatable pool, sneakers that I could wear if I gave them a good clean. I spent hours there going through all sorts of things until I came across a box that looked just like the first one I found. Only this one was hidden under a pile of old jackets. 1993, 1999B. At the time, I obviously had no idea what the difference was, and my parents weren't home, so I couldn't ask them. They went on a cruise, so I took both boxes to my car. It's been a week since I was able to pick up both boxes and the USB stick with all the videos from the store. I went through the first few, the ones I wasn't even born into, just to see if everything was working fine. Then I put the USB in an envelope with a postcard so that our family could watch them together after Luke's birthday and after my parents' return. 2 days after the party, my brother called me. He didn't tell me what was going on, but he told me to come to his house as soon as possible. I had never heard my brother sound so worried.
What the hell, Max?
My brother looked even taller than he was. His anger seemed to make him grow. I was a little shorter than him, paler and weaker.
I watched this shit with Ellie. Do you think this is suitable for a 2-year-old?
Can you at least let me in before you start harassing me? I have no idea what you are talking about. He stepped aside. Their living room was a mess, toys, clothes, and crumbs everywhere. It's been that way since Ellie was born. It made me love my niece even more. She brought a bit of chaos into my brother's lavish life. Aren't Ella and Julia at home? He shook his head.
They went to Julia's parents. She is very angry with you. Max, be honest. Why did you make these videos?
I moved the soft baby elephant off the sofa and sat down. I brought our old VHS tapes over there and they... Did I tell you when I gave them to you? I thought you would like to see them. Luke frowned.
You look like you don't understand what I'm talking about.
He took out his laptop and sat next to me. He opened a folder with 2 video files labeled Tapes A and B.
Did you watch it?
A few firsts.
Hey.
I nodded. Without another word, he opened file B. The video started playing. Date below, November 1994. With description, parking time. At first, I thought it started with a dark screen. But, as it turned out, it was just a night. The quality wasn't great, but you could tell the trees were there, and you could hear an owl screeching occasionally.
There is a similar video in it. This is me. I just learned to walk, and we are in the park having a picnic. During the day.
So what is it? I asked.
Wait.
Suddenly, there was light. Someone lit a torch and stuck it in the ground. We couldn't tell who the person was because he was only showing his back, and it was still too dark. Then more torches appeared, arranged in a circle. When that was done, someone came with a baby that looked a lot like Luke when he was little and placed the baby in the middle of the circle. Even with the light, It still looked weird and blurry. There were voices, but I couldn't make out what they were saying. "What the hell?" I whispered. I am speechless. Watching this hurts me inside, and I can't explain how or why. I wanted it to stop, but at the same time I was too curious. Luke looked at me with a worried expression on his face.
I'm going to fast forward to one moment with us.
June 1997 birthday. It was daytime in our garden, but things looked a little different again. The colors were much brighter, almost neon. Two guys appeared in the frame, probably Luke and me. It must have been my 3rd birthday, so Luke was 5. We were dressed in purple striped shirts and pants, but only our backs were visible. We ran towards what looked like a small, bouncy castle, the likes of which I don't remember ever being. We disappeared inside as the camera zoomed further and further away. And then all we could hear were loud screams, but they didn't sound like they were coming from children. When the two of us went outside again, the camera was still zoomed out, but we could still see us laughing and jumping. And something red stained our clothes and hands. Blood. I ran to the bathroom and threw up my lunch. When I returned, Luke was waiting for me with a bottle of water.
The same thing happened with Ellie.
I didn't like the idea of my little niece seeing it, and I thought it was weird that she reacted so strongly to it, that she knew something was wrong. Because, technically, nothing terrible happened in these tapes. They were just weird. Luke, I swear, I have no idea what it was. All I did was grab the boxes of videotapes.
Do you remember that birthday?
He asked. You are kidding. We returned to the living room. Luke closed the laptop.
I remember your 3rd birthday. Some of your friends in kindergarten were there. Mom baked a cake. There was no bouncy castle and everything else that was there.
My stomach was still turning. I've seen a lot of much bloodier things in my life. I don't know why this affected me so much. Mom and Dad will come back tomorrow. We need to talk to them, I said firmly. But Luke knew me well and must have heard the fear in my voice. For as long as I can remember, I have never been afraid of my parents before. But I also know they were a little special when we were growing up. My parents were always eccentric. Our house was always full of weird art, and they traveled a lot. Even back then, they never hurt us, never even neglected us a little. But I don't remember anything terrible ever happening.
I can go alone. Look, Mom and Dad are a little weird. It must be some really weird art project of theirs. But anyway, I want to know what it is.
Luke said, No, I will come too. Maybe they will be angry that we found them.
Max, they kept them in the basement in an unlocked box. They wanted us to find them, or at least they didn't mind us finding them.
I wasn't afraid of my parents, but of everything I couldn't remember. I stayed with Luke that night. Julia and Ellie were still with Jacob's parents. The next day, we went to meet our old childhood. Luke and I both stayed in our hometown after leaving. His house was a 20-minute drive from my parents. I lived a bit further from both of them. As we pulled into the driveway, I saw my parents' car and felt a cold shiver. I wasn't sure how we should do it, what we would say. As it turned out, it was not necessary. Mom answered the door before we even called.
Max, Lukey, how nice of you to stop by.
She came closer to hug us, but Luke gently pushed her away.
Where is Dad? The 4 of us need to talk.
Before my mom could answer, he walked into the living room where my dad was reading a book.
What are the B tapes?
My parents exchanged glances, not even trying to look as if they suspected anything.
Sit down, both of you. And calm down. It's okay.
Said Mom. My dad sighed, put the book down, then stood up. If anything, they seemed annoyed that we had ruined their day. Luke and I were sitting next to each other on the sofa, and my parents were standing in front of us. For a moment, it felt like we were little boys again.
None of you were ever hurt. We built them for an opportunity you didn't even get.
Said my father. Can you speak less mysteriously? I intervened. That was the first thing I said.
These are not real videos of your childhood. Just remakes. They were looking for child stars. Luke didn't participate, and then we tried it with you, Max. But none of you were chosen.
Said Mom.
Them. Who are they? And what were they chosen for the film?
Luke asked. My parents looked at each other again.
Something like that. The filmmakers sought out extraordinary children with specific instructions to bring out their personalities. The children who were selected became part of this fantastic children's show, but none of you were like that.
Now Luke and I looked at each other. I had all these questions. Why do you do this to such young children? Why did you never tell us about it? And why did these films exist at all? But the atmosphere changed after my parents explained it to us. Mom went to the kitchen and started cooking. Dad chatted about their trip. They acted as if what he was seeing was perfectly normal. It was the worst. How normal did they consider these films when they can make even a 2-year-old child sick? It seemed to me that I did not even know my own parents, and I felt strange, as if out of place. Luke, meanwhile, looked like he was going to explode at any second. Finally, he glanced at me and went outside. I followed, and we drove off without another word to my parents. At first, none of us spoke. I guess we both didn't know how to handle the situation. After a while, Luke parked at a McDonald's. I thought he just wanted to eat, but instead he turned to me with a serious look.
There is something you don't know. While you were sleeping last night, I watched a few more tapes. I mean, they made me feel terrible, but I had to know if something you know really bad happened.
Then he shook his head.
There was nothing like that. The records are mixed up, but in different ways. In ways that make you question reality.
Now he was looking directly at me.
Do you remember how Mom said that none of us was suitable for the role?
I nodded.
Well, after 1996, there was a third child on the records. And the more I think about it, the more I start to remember things. I know this sounds crazy, but I wonder if we had another brother that we forgot.